Behind the Brand, episode 4.
Is this camera on me?
I hope so.
So welcome back to the Half a Day Show. I'm your host, Jay Half a Day, the Flyest man on the internet. And today we will be doing an interview with Shanae from Flyest.
Wait, why do I always say that you're the Flyest man on it?
I'm starting it now.
Oh, I have to trademark something.
When I say that, you're the Flyest T. It's going to work. The Flyest man with the Flyest T.
Yeah, God, that's
good. This is Behind the Brand, episode 4. Please welcome Shanae, herbalist, entrepreneur, business owner, overall great person. My first time meeting you too.
Yeah.
From DC, Maryland, from the DMV, generally.
PG County.
PG County in the building, very represented. So I'm excited to have you on the show, and I think the people are going to love to hear about your brand, your story, and everything that you got going on. So it's actually pretty surreal how we virtually met, actually. Shanae had, I guess you came across one of my TikToks.
Yeah.
And then you followed up with me and you said, hey, I really like this video. Do you think that you could do one of these with my tea?
Yeah.
And when I got the email, I'm like, wait a minute. Google, I'm like, Flyest. I'm like, I love tea.
Wait, you thought I would have been fake?
You would be surprised how many fake like brand partnerships or like just people just trying to scam me, like, because like, I get a bunch of like clothing items in the mail or whatever, but sometimes they don't be sending it and they just be phishing my data and whatnot. So I got to be, a little bit cautious, but God works in mysterious ways. It was pretty cool that, you found me and then we were able to connect, and now here you are and I'm able to interview you. So thank you for coming on the show also.
Thank you. And thank you for putting out your content. I know a lot of people feel like if they're not getting a bunch of views, like hundreds of thousands or millions of views, then it doesn't matter. But like people like myself who know the power of the internet and know how hard it is to create content are like always eager to work with you. And like if you would have charged me a lot of money, like I still would have tried to pay or work with you because I know it takes a lot. It's hard.
It's hard, but one of my things that I prayed over this year was just to be consistent. So I'm glad that the consistency got me a new connection and I was able to meet you and make something shake. So you actually said something that kind of jumped into one of my questions. Actually, you said that the power of the internet. What would you say is like the significance of social media in this day and age of business and entrepreneurship?
I mean, I think that it's essential. I know there's a lot of businesses that have been able to capitalize on like markets that you might think are oversaturated because they use social media, like landscaping, for example. It's like this guy on TikTok who shows himself like cleaning up people's yards and he does it for free. And like that brings in business. And like most landscapers probably just pitch for, contracts with the city and stuff like that. Like it's easy, and if you're not a big enough name or you're a new company, then you might feel like, man, I can't do this. But with social media, you can find a whole new way to publicize your business and also connect with different types of people because there are folks who use this content for ASMR and it helps them calm down or helps them sleep. Like the world is just so much smaller now because of social media. And I think that for especially Black-owned businesses like mine or businesses that are very niche like mine, you can really find your people using social media and being your open and vulnerable self. So
finding your crowd for sure.
Yeah.
So how did you get into tea?
Well, I'm a firstborn American.
Okay.
My mom's British. So I've always had tea. We never had coffee at my house. And it wasn't until I got older and I had American friends that I realized like people really be drinking juice. Like we didn't get juice like that. You had hot water or you had cold water. Like on a holiday, you might get something that was like a juice concentrated. You had to add water to like make it last or whatever. But it's just been natural for me. It's something I've always had. It wasn't good tea. We would be drinking Tetley, which is like the British version of
like Lipton. Okay.
So it wasn't really good stuff, but that's all we had with a lot of milk.
Tea and milk.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Me do. I've only had it, like, I think the Thai people, they do tea with milk too as well.
Yeah. But theirs is like usually cold.
Theirs is cold. It's like, well, I don't like it like that. But, we like Flyest tea. I say that. So, so what was your journey like, getting into being an herbalist? Did you always know that this was sort of the path you were going to go on?
No. I had immigrant parents. So if you have immigrant parents, there's like two things they want you to be, either a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so my grandmother was like, you're going to be a lawyer. And I was like, okay, that's what she wanted me to do. That's what I'll do. So I went to school. I did very well, always did very well. I even took the LSAT. But then I just decided, I don't think I really want to do this. I found a passion for writing and studying English literature. And so I thought maybe that's what I wanted to do. Maybe I wanted to become a college professor. But that's not really my speed. And I just found myself really working through like personal issues, mostly anger issues. And it was like through herbalism and through studying plants and drinking tea and like doing a lot of journaling and stuff that I found a new version of myself. And I thought, well, maybe this is a passion of mine. And then I decided to take an herbal apprenticeship because I wanted to start my business. But I didn't know enough about herbal tea to like make any. So I needed an herbal apprenticeship.
Somebody had to teach you.
Somebody to teach me. And so I took the apprenticeship and I learned, and it's just been smooth sailing ever since. Like it's something that I wanted to do and there was no resistance. And so that's when I was like, okay, this is really what I want to do. This is a choice that I'm making. It's something that makes me happy. And it's my goals. Yeah.
What was the herbal apprenticeship like? Is that difficult? How long did that take?
It was difficult because I didn't know anything. I was so stupid.
From scratch?
I gave it a blank slate. And so that's why I tell people, you don't have to know something in order for it to be a passion. You don't have to know something in order for it to work out for you. You can come in like I did, completely a blank slate. I knew nothing about plants. It's not like I had my grandma who told me or anything like that. I went to my herbal apprenticeship. I was the youngest person. I was the only Black person. And so I was also the only person who didn't have any experience. So I really didn't think that I was going to do well at all. I didn't think I was going to be an herbalist. I didn't think I would be able to make it. But I told myself I'll give it 100% and see what happens. And it was every Wednesday from like 6 to 10 p.m. for 11 months. And so I did it. I showed up every week. And
now?
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah. I still study plant medicine.
Still study it.
The more you learn about, I guess, nature, the more you realize you don't know anything. So you're always learning.
So would you say that, you mentioned holistic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned that, are you more interested, or would you say you're more liberal in like, I don't even really know how I'm phrasing this, like holistic versus modern or conventional medicine? Would you say that you lean more into one or the other, or is it a mix of both?
I think it has to be a mix of both. I think that in just today's world, you have to take a little bit of the old with the new. You can't have all the old ways. It's just, you're not going to be able to catch up. Just from the simple fact of like, I just want to, let's say, I want to follow medieval time medicine. The soil is so different that you can't even grow like the same plants that they had back then. So you got to just remix it. And there's nothing wrong with using conventional medicine to me. There's nothing wrong with taking elderberries to prevent flu, but also if you've got an itchy throat, there's nothing wrong with taking Mucinex or Theraflu. I know some people have it in their head that the government wants to be.
I'm just going to mention, I saw your video the other day.
People have it in their heads that the government is out to kill them, and I totally understand, but I don't think that they would work that hard. I mean, we saw the MOVE people, right? They just bombed the whole apartment building. Like, they don't have to work that hard to kill you. Let's just give them a little medicine every day, every season, whatever. They're not going to waste that kind of time. If they wanted you out of here, you'd be out of here. And no one will protest. We've seen that, right? No one does anything. People, it's not me. Then I can keep pushing. We've seen that. So
we have seen that.
Yeah, the government, I think it's a little silly. But
it's,
conspiracy.
Everybody has a platform.
Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Doesn't matter if you're qualified or not.
Yeah, it's easy. Yes, if you say it with enough assertiveness, people will follow. Kind of scary.
You also mentioned, like, when you were talking about the internet and social media, like some industries may seem oversaturated. Mm-hmm. In the realm of tea and herbalism, what is it like to be one of a few? Like, whether that's being one of a few Black people, one of a few Black women, one of a few women. What was that like when your journey to getting here?
I believe in failing fast. So I launched my business in November, and then February of the next year, I did a coffee and tea festival. And so that's the biggest event ever. It's the biggest event that I've ever done. And I really didn't have like perfect packaging. I didn't have anything great. I just wanted to test it in real time and see what would happen. And
what was the reception like?
It was mostly good, but there was a woman who came by and she's like, I do this festival every year. Your marketing concept is unique, but the people you want to sell to, the people who are interested in this, they're not going to buy this product. And she's like, you should do something way more luxurious or something way more high end, more like a Harney and Sons type of vibe.
Okay.
And so I felt a little discouraged because I was one of 3 Black people there and the only one who was selling tea. Like other people were selling merchandise, like tea inspired clothing.
Okay.
And I was trying to fail fast, but I didn't think I was going to fail. I was like, oh, my ego was talking like, oh, let's try to fail fast and you won't fail and then you're going to beat up that. And so I showed up and it was discouraging, but it also affirmed for me, that I got to really nail down my customer base. And if there is a dissenter, that's actually kind of good sometimes. Now I know what to gauge it against. I know what people are looking for. I know what people are interested in. And I know who's not my customer, which is as important as knowing who is.
Who is your customer like that?
Yeah.
So who would you say is your customer? Like, what's the target demographic that you look to sell tea to?
Yeah, mostly like millennials, Gen Z folks, college-educated people, people who are interested in health and wellness, some people who have an interest in like traditional medicine, but they haven't really dug their feet all the way in it.
All right.
They kind of like me, like they believe in conventional medicine and also traditional medicine working together. For the most part, my customer looks like me. So I love it. It's great to be able to, like, this is what I'm going to say in an email and this is what I'm going to say in a text message. And it fits, And
it resonates. I'm glad that you said that. I was going through your website, your social media platforms, and even just looking on the back of your tea bags. Yeah. You can sort of hear the active voice of a Black woman, like, okay, drink tea like an adult. Or, I was reading it like through your About Me section, and it's like, you thought that those bags were like cloth, but it's dyed or something like that.
Plastic junk, yeah.
Plastic junk. So what would you say the importance of, your branding and your strategy there is and your overall scheme?
Sometimes I worry,
all intentional?
Yeah, it is intentional for sure, but I don't necessarily want to be doing this all my life, Disclaimer, if Unilever comes tomorrow with a check, I'm selling. Unilever, holla at me. I know that there's like a lot of Black customers who feel like, oh man, they just sell out. Like the same way you don't want to work every day, neither do I, beloved.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I worry that the voice that I've made or I have, I don't want it to ever be manufactured, to the point that if I sold it, then there are some people behind the scenes like trying to sound like a Black woman. Like I always want it to be authentic. It's natural for me.
Right.
And I just hope that as the business grows and as I step away from it, it maintains that authenticity. So having the voice is important because that helps me connect with customers. But I don't always know that it's scalable.
And yeah, that's probably one of the struggles most business owners face when they get to a point where it's like, all right, I've made something great, but how do I get to that next step while retaining the integrity of what I created? Because this is like your child.
Yeah.
This is your business. This is your livelihood. So it's like sometimes, well, actually, let me go into a different question then. Would you pull like, I think it's like either Shea Moisture or Cantu where they sold it and they were still able to keep their hands on the product with keeping the original recipe and whatnot? Would that be something you're interested in? Or if you ever sold or scaled, is it?
Yeah, I wash my hands of it and I would move into other areas because there's so much else that's of interest to me. I love film and I love literature. So
you do
there's lots of other opportunities for me to be creative and experiment. And it's fun to do those things when you already have money. It's hard to be a filmmaker or writer when you don't have any money. So that I would wash my hands of it and hope to see it grow and do really well. I wouldn't want it to be like Movie Pass, where I sold it and then those people kind of trashed it. But hopefully I can sell it and do my own thing, do something different.
That's lit. So I wanted to go a slightly different direction then, because, part of Flyest is, the influence of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
How did you choose that? Or is that just something that was always close to heart? You said, I'm going to bring 2 passions together.
That's exactly how it was. It was 2 passions. My very first college essay was about imagery and Money on My Mind by Lil Wayne.
Okay.
My college professor was like, girl,
where'd you go to school?
I went to Bowie State University.
Okay.
But it's like, you gave me freedom, Dr. Celeste. I wasn't going to go into... I'm already new in college. I don't know much, but I know this song like the back of my hand.
Right.
And I know that it has literary references, and I can use that. And so when it came to running my business, like, I was naive. Like the first 3 months, I thought I could just put my tea on the website and people would buy it. Like you got to have something else. You know, people are just gonna come and buy your t-shirts because they're cool. They have to resonate with it. You have to have something else to it. And so I felt like, well, if I need marketing, I have to rely on what I already know. I didn't have time to learn how to run a business, learn how to make tea, and learn how to market. I had to take away something, and I already knew hip hop. And at the time, there were those gerbils were selling the Kia cars, and it was to a hip hop thing. And I figured, well, if hip hop can sell a Kia and Sprite, it can sell.
Even got the rap snacks.
See, so yeah, and rap snacks is a huge inspiration there. So I figured if they could do it, then tea can do it.
Tea can do it too. And I swear this is like the first time I ever even thought of that. You know, when you reached out, I'm like, tea and hip hop. You would have never thought, but it makes sense because it's like, you know, black people love tea too.
Yeah.
You feel me? And, you know, black culture and hip hop culture is a large intersection there. So it makes sense. Speaking of hip hop though, it's celebrating 50 years, you know. It's a global brand now. It's a global identity.
Yeah.
Who would you say is your biggest hip hop artist? Like, who are you the biggest fan of? You mentioned Lil Wayne. Is that your guy?
No, my absolute favorite is Nas. Like I love him so much. So much. If I met him, I would lose it. Like I wouldn't even be composed. Like,
you could get Nas some tea.
That would be a dream.
You can make it happen.
Yeah, I wonder if he drinks tea though. He gives coffee.
Gives coffee by? Is it The Voice?
Yeah. He gives like, I drink coffee, but I would love to ship that. But I know that there are a lot of people who drink tea who are in hip hop.
Right.
Saweetie's big on green tea. 21 Savage is a big mint tea drinker. So there's a lot of them for sure.
Is there anyone in the hip hop industry that you like collabed with in the past, or anyone that you're looking forward to, you know, connecting with?
I haven't really had a full opportunity to connect with anybody. I'm not really let me stand outside of the club appearance and meet this kind of person. That's really not my jam. However, it is a dream of mine to work with 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz, yeah, he's a dope.
He's a chamomile tea drinker. So he's a dream of mine. So I guess I just got to DM every day. Maybe that'll be
or if we could get a post maybe, and we could just get people to tag 2 Chainz.
Tag him, yeah, that could possibly work. And I wonder if Bun B drinks tea. He got a Trill Burger. So it looks like he might give me an iced tea line.
Iced tea line. You like it. You be on the side.
Look, you got to edit that out. Well, I don't want the people to
just do that. So I did want to ask you that though. One of the questions that stood out it's a repeating phrase throughout your branding is drink tea like an adult. What does that mean?
That means like you be an adult when you drink tea. Like I feel like the tea bags, you know, that you can get at the grocery store, it's just so childish. It's just so cheap. It's just not good quality. Like you put so much effort into everything else, right? Like people are like, no, I have to have these newest shoes. Like you download the sneakers app and you compete for the best shoe. And you compete for you want to buy this t-shirt before it sells out, like all these things. But when it comes to like tea, it's like, I'll just grab what's on the shelf. Like that's not grown up. That's not mature. Like bring that same fervor to your morning routine or your evening routine, whether it be with coffee.
And there's a difference too.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely a difference. You know, I wish I could have showed the whole raw reaction of me drinking the tea. Just like 25 minutes. I was in there so excited. I'm drinking it because first of all, you sent the infuser too. I'm like, oh yeah, we making tea today. And then I tried it and I dipped the honey and I'm like, oh, I feel like an adult now.
Yes, you feel mature, like grown up.
I put my pinky up.
I love that.
Felt a little bougie too.
That's how it should be. Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to have when people say to me I don't like tea, like I know why. Especially if you're drinking bag tea. It just doesn't taste good. There's nothing to it. It doesn't smell good, or if it does smell, it's all artificial.
Right. But there's no care behind it either.
Yeah.
That you guys hand package, you hand prepare all the tea.
Yeah, all of our recipes are mine. You know, some of my competitors, they white label teas, you know, like you can buy from Adagio or any other major company and just put them inside of a, you know, new bag, put your label on it. But my teas, like we get ingredients from other small herb farmers all over the country. And we blend the teas in our warehouse.
Wow.
It's literally like farm to cup.
Right. Farm to cup. I was just about to say that. So how big is your team?
It's just a few of us. We don't need a whole lot of people. But for the most part, like packing and making teas on a day-to-day basis is me. And then we have folks who help with like social media and other business things behind the scenes. But the team itself is pretty small.
Pretty small.
Mm.
But it's making a difference. It's making an impact too.
Yeah. It's cool to have a short supply chain. We were able to really stay afloat during the pandemic because all of our products come from other small businesses. So it's like, if they're going to work, they'll be able to send product to me, and then we can make it happen. I'm not waiting months and months for stuff to come from China or peppermint to come from Egypt. I don't have to do all of that. And
So most of your stuff is locally sourced?
I wouldn't say local because I have so many different people all over the United States. So a lot of them are on the West Coast because they just have a much better climate for certain things. But like mint and stuff like that, I'm able to get from DC.
Wow.
Yeah, or New York. It's really cool to be able to support other small businesses. Because when you support this one, you support another one.
Absolutely.
That's how it should be.
What's one message that is really important to you as a person? Like, what is something that governs your daily life?
My grandmother gave me a powerful piece of advice. I don't even know if she meant it to be so much, but it sticks with me. And she told me, if I can see it in my mind, I can hold it in my hand.
Amen. Hey.
And she's Jamaican, so you can imagine her accent. But it told me the power of imagination.
I love that.
And how limitless it is. So now
I'm taking that.
If I don't want it, if I want it, but I can't see it in my head, it's never going to work. And I think a lot of us, sometimes we want things, you just can't imagine yourself having it just because of everything around you. But the first step is to see yourself having it.
Seeing yourself having it. If you can see it, you can hold it. Yeah. I like that a lot. But I feel like that might be difficult for people that got really, really big imaginations. How do you stop yourself from trying to hold it all?
Well, is that true? I mean, when you think about people like, I know he's a controversial character, but look at people like Kanye West, right? He had really outlandish dreams and literally did it all.
Yeah.
Even sometimes at the sake of himself.
Yeah.
But he did it, so if you crazy enough to believe it or sane enough to believe it and see yourself with it, it can happen. No dream's too big.
So would you say you can do it all?
Yeah, I think everybody can.
I think so.
Yeah.
It really does. It goes back to what your grandmother said. If you can see it, you can hold it. So even if it is a lot,
you got to see it first.
You got to see it first, though. I like that. So if we could go back to your journey, though, if you had to start all of this over from scratch, what would you do differently? Oh yeah.
You mean like start what?
Day one. Like whether that's school, education.
Oh man, school education. Part of me feels like I would not have gone to college.
Most people.
Because I would have saved like 70 grand.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I just would have done differently was started sooner. This isn't even the first business idea I had. The first business idea I had was the Black Box, which was in my mind, a subscription box of Black-owned products that you could purchase. And I didn't know where to start, so I just didn't.
Okay.
And so this time, when I had a new idea, I was like, I'm just going to do it.
So do it.
The first thing I would say is just start now.
Start now.
Done is better than perfect. Don't wait to try to perfect things. It's better to have it done and be terrible than to have it perfect, because you just make a good idea. If you're like me, you'll have a really, really good idea and no execution. It'll just be the best idea. And
one of my mentors had mentioned is sort of the paralysis by analysis. Like you overthink things. Like you get so hard and you get so worked up on, preparing and thinking about how to do something that you never end up doing it because you're so stuck on the planning stage. So the importance of execution is always in the delivery. Yeah. It's like you can't get stuck in preparing. Once you have an idea, I like it, you just said, do it and do it early.
Yeah.
So that would lead into one of my last questions for you, actually. So, as a Black woman, as a Black person, what advice generally would you give to young entrepreneurs, and then specifically to young Black women who aspire to be business owners?
You have to be your transparent self. I think that I talked earlier about anybody having a platform, and sometimes it's not a good thing, but if anybody has a platform, that means that you can, so you should start talking, start being yourself, and start showing your products. I feel like a lot of Black women, I work with Buy From a Black Woman, and I would do something like accountability Sundays, and I would tell people about the importance of like posting content, and they're like, I don't want to be on camera, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Like, you got to do the things you don't want to do. Like every single day, do something you don't want to do. Like I didn't want to drive here. I was about I mean, it's pouring down raining, and Sundays I'm usually, it's okay. And usually I'm at home on Sundays. I don't do anything, right? And then I have a brunch. I really don't like brunch, I told you, but it's important to do the things you don't want to do. Who knows what'll come out of it? I might have a really good time. I might absolutely hate it, but I did it.
But you did it.
Yeah. It's what I make it.
It's good content.
So just show up as your authentic self in your work. You can't afford to put on a facade or pretend to be anybody. Just be you and show up every single day. That's the advice I would give any entrepreneur.
I love that. And that's dope. I think that is all I really have for the episode. I hate that you came out here for a 25-minute conversation, but I'm so happy that you did. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I look forward to, working more together with each other in the future. I'm always going to promote Flyest. It's my favorite tea, and that's no cap. Like that black tea, that chamomile tea, and the other one, I think it's cream.
Yeah.
Love them.
Thank you.
Look, and I tell everybody about it, especially that damn honey. Look, that's, man, what? But yeah, thank you again for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. But that's it. This has been an episode of the Half a Day Show. Education, entertainment, everything in between. See y'all when I see y'all.